I have a small confession to make. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. Now, before this sounds like a cringy YouTuber apology, basically, I was saying before the wildcard deadline that Man United defence was to be firmly avoided. Unfortunately for me at least, well, I'm a Man United fan, so there was only going to be a silver lining really. Either I do well in FPL or Man United would start doing well. They've kept 3 clean sheets on the bounce in game week 17, 18 and 19. I was a bit worried the fact that Varane and Martinez wouldn't be playing, that the Man United defence would just go down the pan. But Varane played the first game back from the World Cup, which I just didn't expect. It turns out Man United just didn't have the personnel that were fit to play. And yeah, when he's in the team, the clean sheets for Man United just go right up. And I just didn't expect him to play, basically. And yeah, they've kept 3 clean sheets on the bounce. Luke Shaw specifically has just been amazing as well. He's been playing really attacking. Got a goal in the game against Bournemouth. 3 clean sheets on the bounce, maxing out the bonus points. Yeah, they've been ridiculously good. So if you listen to me, I'm sorry. With this video being titled Players to Buy and Avoid for Game Week 20, I don't want to jump the gun too much in terms of double game weeks, etc. But I've got some players that I've really got my eye on, and certainly some players that I really don't fancy. This one I don't think is any real surprise, and that's just the Liverpool defence as a whole. They don't have too bad a fixture run for the next few weeks, but I just don't fancy them at all. I think we've got a big enough pool of data now, at least 19 game weeks, to suggest that they're not really good at keeping clean sheets anymore. They look leaky against pretty much anyone that they play. They're 10th in the league for expected goals conceded, and now their main defender, Virgil van Dijk, has done a hamstring. That usually takes 4 to 6 weeks to get better, and it's actually worse than feared with some of the reports that I've seen. So for me, until we see any sort of significant improvement or they sign some players, I think Liverpool defenders just have to be firmly ignored. Now, on to a more positive note. This guy, Matoma, I think is the absolute bee's knees for Brighton. He looks really exciting, really good. Started their last 3 Premier League games, returned in 2 of them. For me, he's passed the eye test every time I've seen him play for Brighton, as well as playing for Japan at the World Cup. I think he was underutilised in the World Cup as well. Japan played him at left back, and he was devastating, but he just couldn't get forward enough because he was stuck at left back. Brighton also have a possible double game week in game week 21. I think he's a great option to potentially cover that double, and he's only 0.6% owned. I think he's just such an exciting player to watch, a really exciting pick with his ownership. And he's really cheap as well, so he can come in for pretty much anyone for you. So certainly if Brighton get their double in game week 21, I think he's looking like a really excellent option. Next up is a man who, certainly by his standards, is having quite a poor season, and that's Heung-min Son. I think with a still not to be confirmed but likely double game week in 20 involving Arsenal and Man City, on the face of it, you suggest that those are 2 fixtures that Spurs would find quite tough. But looking at those records, he's got 9 returns in 15 games against Arsenal, 7 returns in 12 Premier League games against City, and then 3 goals in 2 Champions League games against them. I think he's got decent records against both of those teams. It's got off the back of a goal and an assist in game week 19 versus Crystal Palace. I think he's a good punt. Obviously, he's not a sure thing, and if you've got a decent rank currently and you're just looking to hold, the likes of Kane and De Bruyne will be better options. But I think if you're chasing, what better time to punt on Heung-min Son than when he's got a double game week in game week 20? Now, I mentioned him already, but next up, and it comes as no surprise really, he's already really highly owned, but I think if you don't have Harry Kane, you really need to think about getting him in your team. He's the second highest scoring player, second highest scoring striker, behind Haaland. I'm pretty sure he's the second highest scoring player in FPL as well. He's got 0.9 expected returns per 90. His record against Arsenal is absolutely outstanding. He's got 16 returns in 16 Premier League games that he's played against them. In Man City 2, it's not bad. 7 returns in 12 games. It's more than 1 in 2. That's pretty decent, certainly against Man City anyway. He's absolutely nailed for Spurs. I don't think there are many Premier League players that are more nailed than Harry Kane. He's going to play both of those games, in my opinion. 2 games against first and second in the Premier League, Arsenal, Man City. I think he's going to play both of them. And I think he's a great option. You know, he's likely to score against Arsenal based on those historic numbers, and I think he's got a good chance of returning against Man City as well. I haven't seen a Man City team as leaky as this one at the moment, and I think that provides a great opportunity for Harry Kane, as well as the guy I just mentioned, Heung-min Son, to return well. And then finally, I mentioned this guy before the wild card, after Reece James got injured, and now I think Sven Botman is the best cheap defender in FPL at the moment. And if you don't own him, and you can work out a way to bring him into your team without hindering yourself for the doubles, I think you absolutely should be looking at him. He's the cheapest starting defender for Newcastle. Newcastle are now statistically the best defence in the Premier League. They've got a decent fixture run, albeit they don't double. I still think that's a fantastic fixture run. And with the clean sheets that Newcastle have been keeping, I think he's a great option. He started the last 11 Premier League fixtures. One of the doubts that we'd have at the start of the season was, is he going to play? Absolutely, that's been put aside now. Shah and Botman are the preferred two for Newcastle. He's playing every game. They're keeping clean sheets. And I think for me, both Reece James and Patterson are now down. They're both in my team, and I think they'll be popular picks in others as well. I think Botman is the perfect man to come in and replace both of them. And that concludes the video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll apologise up front for the poor audio quality. I'm on holiday at the moment, and I didn't bring my mic with me because it wouldn't fit into my bag, so you're just dealing with a MacBook microphone at the moment. But I think it should be okay. I've done a few tests on it, and there's not too much background noise, despite it absolutely pouring it down with rain at the moment outside. But yeah, hopefully it did the job, and hopefully you found it useful. Hopefully my picks there give you some sort of inspiration as to who to buy in Game Week 20. I'll see you in the next video.